What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the Raging Rainbow. My name is Dylan, doing a comic book review for Teen Titans Academy number 4. And are you guys ready to find out the true identity of Red X? I hope you said no, because you're not gonna get it in this issue. Okay, so if you guys remember, everybody's still trying to figure out the identity of Red X, especially since Red X teamed up with Suicide Squad, last week or 2 weeks ago, and invaded Titans Academy, and they were trying to get, what's her name? Bolt? No. Bolt? Bolt. I think it was Bolt, right? The new one, the one with the blades. So, anyway, we're seeing, because the new team who's on to the investigation is the Bat Pack, this new group of characters all inspired by Batman. So we have the quiet big one, and then we have the little sassy female who's like the super detective. Well, they're all kind of detective-ish except for the big one. He doesn't really do much. But we have the woman of color, and then we have the little gay kid, which you'll see what I mean. But anyway, he's the one who's writing Chupacabra. He's the one who's writing all of these notes, but apparently he's writing it and actually saying it out loud, which is terrible detective work. But anyway, he's narrating this whole thing. And so we get this splash page where they have their whole board of possible suspects and everything, and you can see all the people's face. Oh, what? Wait a minute. I don't see everybody's faces on here. What is that? Is that Nightwing's ass? My, the sexualization in these comics nowadays, you know what I mean? But anyway, so he's going on, he's saying I, Chupacabra, another beast of prey, was ready, along with Megabat, the silent brute, and Bratgirl, the tech genius, my pack. As I saw it, this case didn't stand a chance against us. So he says, before the semester even started, I could feel it. Someone hiding in plain sight, practically begging the eyes of the bat to fall upon them. So he's like, maybe it's the Gotham in me. Maybe it's the serum-induced senses of an apex predator, but I can smell mystery a mile away. And then Bratgirl's like, that's not how it happened. The only thing you were smelling on that ferry was your own puke spewing off the port bow. If you're going to tell the story, Diego, tell it right. So this is where I was saying, he's obviously writing it and apparently just saying it out loud. So he's like, it's called Licencia Poetica, Marissa. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. Mystery. So he's like, the Roy Harper Titans Academy was teeming with it. And at its center was the man who'd brought us. 3 orphans and wards of the state all the way here from Gotham City. Mr. Nightwing, formerly known as the Red X, and Robin, and I think maybe Batman for a minute, but I can't prove it yet, so he's like, still, Red X, the mysterious death-masked man in black that spawned not 1 but 2 copycats until, here at Titans Academy once again, the Red X was reborn. So we see this part where Red X was jumping off, and they have this arrow pointing at him that says total butthole, and then this other one that says seriously. So anyway, he goes on, he's like, this one's identity, like the last 2, was a carefully shrouded secret, one too tempting to resist. We rounded up the usual suspects, which apparently was Tubi. So they round up Tubi and decide they're going to go ahead and interrogate him. So they tie him up to a chair, and Diego says that they're going to do good cop, bad cop, and then apparently this is some sort of animated sitcom or something, because then we get this little cutaway gag of a title card of good cop, bad cop, also starring Megabat. So I was like, okay. But anyway, and the reason why I'm saying it's a TV thing is because it says down here Tuesdays this fall. So anyway, he says it took a little Batman style persuasion, and then we see where Bratgirl's asking him you got to give us something, Tubi. I don't know if I can control my partners here much longer. And he's like, I told you I'm not Red X. And is this a lie detector? You know those things don't work, right? And she's like, oh, it works, but it's not a lie detector. And then we find out that apparently it's just a torture device. Like it literally just electrocutes him, and then he turns into like a toilet paper roll. But anyway, he's saying, Diego saying in his like narration, he's like, but pretty soon we had him singing like a jailbird. And Bratgirl interrupts again, and she's like, what are you talking about? We didn't get anything from Tubi. And he's like, I didn't say his singing was any good, which is why we sought out information from one of our more reliable sources, which was apparently, y'all remember when we were first introduced to like the cast of this Teen Titans Academy, and I said that Stitch was literally just going to be that person interjected at specific moments for like comedic relief? Yeah, that's exactly what we're getting here, because all of a sudden their secret contact was Stitch in like a deep throat type of situation, literally coming up to them in like a trench coat and fedora, and then is doing the whole thing with the cigarette, like about to light it. But then, of course, like I said, comedic relief, so Stitch actually accidentally lights themselves, I guess are the pronouns, right? Accidentally lights themselves on fire, like on the hand, and then Diego is basically saying it was Stitch the Snitch, and says this kid has the goods on every Academy student and some of the faculty. Of course, Stitch themselves was clearly not Red X material, referring to the fact that they just set themselves on fire. And so Stitch is like, "Hi kids, this is Stitch," magically breaking into Chupacabra's narration for a beat to say, "Don't smoke. Smokers are jokers, and vapists are Stitch," because Diego interrupts. And then she's like, "Oh," or they are like, "Sorry, Stitch out." So he's like, "Well, that was weird." But it just goes to show how a sorcerer like Stitch can get into literally anywhere, making them one heck of an informant. The files were a good read, and they wasted no time pointing us to Matt Price, of course. Since the first day of school, something about the guy just wasn't adding up. And so I had kind of also speculated on it possibly being Matt, but I already ruled it out because he does have powers, and we see that even more here. But anyway, he goes on, he's like, Price was a real loner who didn't participate during group activities, which when you look like a walking prep school acceptance letter is pretty weird. He's like, even weirder, at a school for super kids, this one never showed off his powers. The word on the street was they were pretty substantial. He's like, this kid had secrets, and maybe one of those secrets involves some extracurricular activities. So Bratgirl's like, guys, I think we lost him. But as we can see, his caption's coming from up above because apparently he's able to fly, which they didn't know, and none of us knew. So they ask him, they're like, you can fly? He's like, yeah, I can punch too. Now, I suggest you tell me why you're following me, and then like try to attack him, but then when Megabat tries to punch him, he just easily stops it. And then we see that they end up going to the like principal's office or to like Starfire's office, where Matt's in there with Tubi, who still has one of his legs as a tube. So they're outside like getting ready to be read the riot act, and Diego saying like, but the detour would give me a chance to remember why I'm in this, how I came from nothing and from no one, how the life of a Gotham City urchin is dispensable, unless he can prove himself, make himself a worthy ally to the only god anyone prays to in those dank downtown streets. And I don't mean Nightwing. Even that guy knows he'll never be the kind of detective Batman is. The kind I'm gonna be. He's like, but that's the next story. As for this one, it turns out detention really is a chance to stop and think about what you've done. So they got detention. He's like, and all we'd done is chase our own tail the entire investigation. We were nowhere, and we knew it. So he says, like, the basic facts: X downloaded unknown files from the tower's classified mainframe, then worked with a possible terrorist group to kidnap Bolt, it was Bolt, before switching sides to defend her and the rest of the student body. Aside from a couple more random sightings, that's all we had. So he's saying, like, is he friend, foe, out of control, class prank? We need a big break, you guys, and soon. And then he's like, a big break that maybe was right in front of us, because apparently Brick is also in detention. So he's like, like I said, another one that they were kind of very strongly hinting at, I think in the first issue, right? That it was possibly him. So he's like, how did we not think of him before? Classic bully, quick to anger, with an obvious yet mysterious chip on his shoulder. If there was one name brand angry loner at the Titan School for Gifted Youngsters, it was Brick Pennyroso. This kid was absolutely hiding something, cleverly stashed away, wrapped up somewhere out of sight. If we could get on our hands on whatever that was, and Bratgirl's like, it's not Brick. And then he's like, or then she's saying, this is a live shot from one of the security drones I helped Coach Cyborg install. And then I guess Diego's like, who just hangs out on the roof? And we see that it's Billy Batson. So he's like, Bat Son? What a waste of a cool name. This kid had no skills, no powers, or secret identities to speak of. What made him Academy material? No one knew. In fact, no one knew much of anything about Billy Batson. So they start comparing it to like a video from a couple months ago of like when they had Red X on the roof, and then they're going to like go back and compare it to him now. But then when they go back, she's like, oh, the feed is dead. And she's like, it's not like it was just like interrupted, like it was completely killed. Like there was just sudden electrical interference. So we come outside and we see Billy finishing saying Shazam and the lightning hitting him. But as you can see, he didn't transform. So he's kind of talking about like, yeah, it's weird. Like I've been trying it for weeks now, but, or I think for days, whatever. But he's saying every time he tries, like it either works or it doesn't, but the majority of the time it doesn't work. So he doesn't know why. And then he's like, I don't know. I'm starting to think I should just let it go. Maybe vigilante out, you know? Finally put all that Nightwing training to good use. I could even wear a mask. So, because he's talking to Raven and Beast Boy. So, Beast Boy tells him, like, I think it hasn't really come to that yet. And Raven asks, has it? So he's just giving them, like, those I have drugs, but I'm trying to pretend like I don't have them face. And he's like, of course not. But anyway, we go from there back over to the team, who go over to Billy and Miguel's room, and they're like trying to go in and like look around. And so Miguel tells them like, no, I understand completely. You three want to search our room as part of some top secret underground investigation you're conducting. Got it. Slams the door in their faces. So as we can see, like the sign on their door is also coming off a little bit. And Diego's like, yikes. So Brat Girl tells him like the door wasn't open long enough to complete my scan. And then we see from Brick's room, his roommate, I guess, is saying like, I mean like if, or you can scan my stuff if you want. I mean like if it's for science or whatever. So for whatever reason, because look, here's the thing. As we can see, there are only two people who stay in this room, right? But Brick isn't there, right? Because he just said, because we can see that this is obviously not Brick, right? So he's obviously M. Radley. So why Diego follows up by saying, who is M. Radley? Yeah, who the heck was M. Radley? Why didn't you ask him? You were literally looking at him. You could have asked him, who are you? But anyway, he says, not that it mattered. So anyway, the kid is leaving. He's like, okay, well, I'm late for practice. Just lock it up when you're done. And don't go through Brick's stuff, okay, Bat Boy? So I don't know if maybe M. Radley is Red X because he's kind of like leaving with a backpack. So who knows what's actually in there. But anyway, they're going in, and Diego's saying quietly to the rest of the team, he's like, why is he being so helpful? To which Brat Girl's like, isn't it obvious? I say go for it. And then, because apparently he was flirting with him. So Diego's like, and this is why I'm saying gay boy, because he's like, please, not remotely my type. So anyway, they go on looking in the room, and he's like, we are going to go through Brick stuff though, right? And then she's like, already on it. So she's like using a thing to look into this box. And then apparently whatever it is, she's just like, whoa, that's very personal. So I don't know what it is that he has in this box, but apparently it was super personal. And then all of a sudden, like, her tablet shorts out. And then he's asking like if it's like in detention with her drone that was looking at Billy. And she's like, no, that was just an interrupted video feed. This time the whole tablet is. And then all of a sudden we see Brick is behind them, and he's pissed. Because if you remember, his power is basically an EMP. So he can disrupt and like completely brick stuff, which is what she's saying. She's like, my thing was bricked. So all of a sudden he's saying to the Pac-Mobile, which is apparently just Megabat picking them up and carrying them away. And so as we can see, he was knocking Brick out of the way like a cartoon where he literally just flipped up in the air. But anyway, they get away, and then he's like, he didn't chase us, which is actually way scarier than if he had. He's like, still, we thought it was best to lay low. And so anyway, Brat Girl's asking him because they've gone to this like room, I guess, or just a random hallway. And she's like, why are you on the floor? Little bat legs tired? He's like, oh my God, I swear, Marissa, when my wings finally come in. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But anyway, she's like, what's wrong? And he says, I just thought I'd be better at this. Matt, Brick, Billy, now Miguel Montez. It could be anyone. So She says, we're still in the middle of the case. It's okay not to know the answer yet. To which he's like, Batman would know. One way or another, he'd know. He'd solve it. He'd win. Do you want to go kiss him? And he's like, Brick's right. I'm not Batman. I'm just a stupid freak. So Mega Bat all of a sudden just yanks him by the collar and gives him a hug. Aww. Anyway, I guess that cheers him up. So Batgirl tells him, like, you think Batman never had a tough case? The Court of Owls, the Phantasm, the Long Halloween? You and I both know he still hasn't even solved that one. Not really. What is that supposed to mean? Like, how do y'all know that he didn't actually solve the Long Halloween? I know how we know that he didn't solve the Long Halloween, but there's no way, if Batman doesn't know it in universe, how did they figure that out? And if they know that he doesn't know that, why haven't they told anybody? You know what I mean? But anyway, she goes on and she says, and then there's Mr. Nightwing. Batman taught him everything he knows, and yet he still hasn't solved the case of who reprogrammed the fight simulator to mess with him on the first day of school. And then Diego's like, wait, that was you? Apparently it was her. And she's like, know anyone else who can rebuild 1,000 lines of neo-apocalyptian holocode into a figurable Red X proxy and, just get away with it? I guess because she's like, really into the science and junk. But anyway, she goes on and she says, the point is, Nightwing isn't Batman. None of us are. We've never even seen the Bat up close. But I bet if we did, we'd see that under all the impossibly cool tech, the bulging biceps, and the Predator's instincts, he's just a detective, putting in the work, piecing together the clues to get to a truth that'll make things better for someone. Maybe for everyone. I don't know all there is to know about Batman, but I know he doesn't give up, and neither should we. So, very thorough and succinct examination of Batman. But anyway, she's like, it wasn't all that dramatic, but I appreciate you sharing the spotlight. And then he's like, licencia poética. So anyway, they start going through everybody that they have in here. And then as they're going through it, Batgirl is like, I think we can eliminate Stitch. And then we see Stitch's like speech bubble where she's like, oh, thank God. And then Diego in his writing is like, Stitch. And then she says, I was never here. Or they say, I was never here. Anyway, Diego is like, and talking to Tubi, he just doesn't seem like the type. So he says they keep going through it more and more, one at a time, and like each one they talk about, basically they could figure out a reason why it wasn't them, and then they got all the way down to one. The last one was Billy Batson, and then we see someone yelling from off panel, Billy Batson. So we're thinking like, oh, what is it? What's about to happen? But it's actually Donna Troy is saying, is not Red X. So, damn. But anyway, Diego's like, hey, don't sneak, which it would have been stupid if he was. But anyway, Diego's like, hey, don't sneak up. And Beast Boy, who's with her in the shape of an owl, says, what is this? Have you guys been doing your own little investigation? And then, they're basically telling them, stay away from this. And then Beast Boy tells them, we don't know if this new Red X is on our side, out for himself or working for someone much worse. It's the not knowing that makes him a danger to us. So that's why they're saying, like, that's why we're going to unmask him in front of you, in front of everyone. So Donna tells them, no, this isn't up for discussion. Stay away from it. Go back to your studies. And if you so much as hear about Red X, you bring it to us. That's final. So she's like, now get back to your rooms. So they go back to their rooms. And then as they're walking, all of a sudden, Diego says to them, like, do you guys smell brimstone? So I don't really know what that's supposed to mean, because all of a sudden they turn the corner and there's Billy. So brimstone usually like accompanies demons. So what's Billy getting into really? But anyway, what's her name? Batgirl is the one that knows him and is like, Billy, and then he tells them, there you are. Miguel said you were looking for me. And then Diego tells him like, nope. So he's like, really? Huh, okay. Well, then I guess I'll see you around. So they're like, yeah, for sure. And then Batgirl tells them, like, he knows we know. To which Diego's like, and now he knows we know he knows we know. He's 3 moves ahead, and you know what that means. Billy Batson is definitely... And then they, like, turn around, and they see Red X, even though Billy was walking the opposite direction. So they're like, oh, shit, it's not him. And then Stitch pops in to be like, oh, snap. To which, again, Diego's like, hey. So she's like, sorry. And then the issue ends there. So again, like I said, we still don't know who Red X is. We just have who they thought they were, or who they thought Red X is. And apparently they suck at it. They arrived at Billy Batson. They went through all of that and they arrived at Billy Batson, the least conceivable person to be Red X. So if it actually turns out to be Billy Batson, I'm going to be so annoyed. But anyway, yeah, that's all we got from that. So I'm like, I don't know what to get from this. They keep dragging out this whole who is Red X thing. How long are y'all gonna do this? How long are y'all going to stretch this out? Because like I said, I'm pretty sure it's Dane, the little blonde boy. They've pretty much confirmed it's not Matt, it's not Brick, it's not Billy. So that really only leaves Dane, right? Like he's the only one. And like on their little like wall of suspects, Dane was on there, but the only like post-it note that was on him was that it said that he was too blonde. What's that supposed to mean? But anyway, yeah, that's what we got from Teen Titans Academy 4. So I don't really know. Like I'm starting to get really bored with the whole who is Red X thing. Especially when like Red X is starting to become like a major player, but we still don't know who the hell they are, you know? It kind of makes it hard for us to get involved or to really get invested when we're still trying to figure out who the hell is this? You know what I mean? So I don't know. And we don't see the Red X enough. I guess because they feel like if they put Red X in the story more, then it's going to like give away too much, I guess. So I don't know. It feels like it's taking too long, even though this is only issue 4, but it's something that's also running through like Suicide Squad now. Like they've picked up on that whole storyline of, well, who is Red X? Where Amanda Waller is now trying to figure it out. So I'm getting bored with it. I'm like, just drop it already. Who is it? Just show us who the hell it is and then move on to the rest of the stories. You know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. So that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys thought of this if you are keeping up with it. Do you think that I am correct that it's Dane who's Red X, or who do you think Red X is? Just let me know if you're bothering to keep up with this. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's going to do it for me here. So if you enjoyed this video, then do feel free to like the video, subscribe, and share it with everybody that you know. But if you guys are done here, go read a book. And if not, then I will see you on my next video.